Yeah, good morning everybody. So today I am going to propose a Neutrosophic fuzzy logic based framework for dataset creation in emotional intelligence application. So we are the authors, and Pradeep, and the interesting thing is the Florentin Smarandache is the creator of this Neutrosophic logic. So he is co-authoring this paper with me. So I have asked one question: who is happy out of these four people? I know that you definitely say it's 3 and 4, right? But I am asking another question: who is really happy? I guess that no one can say. People even crying by hearts, even their faces are laughing. So we are the actors in the world. So we have a different mentality in our side, and we are trying to show in something else. So this is called as emotional intelligence. I'm not going to talk about all these 4 steps, but basically it's having self-awareness, self-regulation and social assessment, and finally we are going to manage our relationship. But my interest is going to how that AI equivalent capability in these 4 spaces. The first one is emotional recognition, and second one is emotion guided reasoning and emotional interpretation and casualty, and finally the AI will be capable to responding appropriately for a different kind of inputs he took from different people. So my research, this work is totally based on the emotional recognition, the first work which the world is at the moment fighting. Actually now the machine learning and deep learning mechanisms and methods are there to analyze these emotionals of the people using image, video, voices and text data. So this data gathering, that's the important thing. At the present, people are using wearable sensors, tone, pictures, facial recognitions and video, as well as my previous presenter said, the sentiment analysis, which is based on the data. So my interest is going to this part. So now we have a challenge when we are developing the AI enabled data, because as I told you earlier, human reply responses are uncertain, ambiguous, subjective. Even we don't know what really the emotion of ours. We say we are happy, we don't know really we are happy. So therefore this gap is happening in AI data sets, which we are trying to develop the EI application. So it reflecting the real world complexities it required. Therefore, the model should represent this vagueness or the subjectiveness or indeterminate the particular situation. So my aim is to introduce a structured method to constructing data set that include the fuzzy uncertainty. So before talking about the Neutrosophic fuzzy, let me briefly explain what is this fuzzy. As the theoretical foundation, we have the crisp sets. We know that we are categorizing the people. He's tall and he's not tall, so we have 1 and 0. Therefore the fuzzy logic came out. You can see even a shorter person, we can say he's not much height, he's not much tall. So we have the values from 0 to 1. One is it's called as the extreme tall or something. So likewise the fuzzy logic developed in different ways, and the institutional fuzzy sets was the last most one. So there we talking about the truth side, that means the tallness is increasing by 0 to 1. At the same time there is a false, it's not tall, it's decreasing from the other way. And you can find out there is a calculation, truth and false, it is total is 9. That means there's uncertainty, vagueness in our mentality regarding this thing. So there are 3 variables now in the fuzzy, advanced fuzzy technicals, fuzzy sets within these 3 parameters. But there is a limitation in institutional fuzzy set. It is total should be 1. That means you can identify is he happy, because you see the laugh, you give the value say like 0.8 happy, so the rest rule you remaining is only 2. So therefore the true, false and intermittency do not have value. They are my co-author Florentin came in, and he developed a mechanism that truth, intermittency and false, that it is having the much we like, and the maximum is go up to not more than 1, more than 1. So now we can say it is really happy. The people can be shown like truth is 0.9 and the false also 0.8, and the intermittency it may be 0, whatever the value. So this is the theoretical background. So there, what I try to, with actually talking with him, how that can be utilized in capturing the people uncertainties. So there we propose a particular model. The first one is we know that in any AI application we require the objective function. I took example of electronic vehicle purchase decision. So the first problem is range and anxiety. Is this car is matched with my day-to-day running and so and so. And the another parameters are cost, warranty and other the measurable thing. But the range and anxiety is one of a difficult one. So this is only a case study. So then we have to replicate this range and anxiety concept thinking into T3 levels. So there, then we have to capture that information. In this one, we try with the telling like we are going to give a questionnaire and we are going to develop 3 questions. You can see the 3 questions, how the same idea is we are capturing. The number 1 is the confidence that the range of EV can be managed. That's the positive question. And you can see the downer one, the falsity. The range out of is a nightmare, is worrying about this range. And the middle one is people do not care about this range and other thing. So then after that we can collect the data, but previously I have to say, so you can take any kind of mechanism to capture the same data in different way, not from the only the question, right? So now you collect the Neutrosophic ripples. So our sample data, our testing data set, it looked like this. Now you can see all the values are come from 1 to 5 because it's a Likert scale or the Likert scale basic standard from the 1 to 5. So therefore, the next step is we have to move that data to match with the fuzzy concepts, that means 0 to 1. So we use this formula, and there are a number of formulas in my research paper, but I am not going to show all this because it takes time. So it's look like this. We converted from 0 to 1. The new table would like this. So now we have to think of all the data sets. We have now one thing to be look at, that is outliers. So here we have developed one rule that the total of these 3 are if more than 1.1, we consider them as outlier, but you can decide whatever the outliers you like. So what's the normal pattern? You throw away the old outlier. No, we can't do that because this is regarding the thinking, people's thinking, so we can't say no. Therefore what we have done, so we propose a proportional normalization we have done. We have come to the data value into 1 and we create this new value for the outliers. So now what we have to do next is we have to compute the scalar Neutrosophic score. That means, so we have positive, negative and intermittency. We have to combine these 3 together and we have to find one representative value. There you can see this formula even, and there is alpha, beta and gamma values. That means we are giving some weights for each and every. For that, it is so this formula is the linear aggregation function basically used in this Neutrosophic multi-criteria decision making. And so to calculate these weights, we employ the entropy weighted methodology. That is one of the nice research studying area, where basically it's not the subjective weighting. So even that we use the data variable to assign the different weights considering entire data sets in the population. So by that we found that alpha, beta, gamma, so like the values in the bottom of the slides, and we found that according to the data set, people are too biased to the false side of their answers. So now we calculate the weights, and basically we found a score at the last column, as you can see, that is the Neutrosophic score. So by now we have completed the data set creation, and the last data set we can upload it to the AI model or whatever the modeling. The next step is this data set. So you can see that the uncertainty, indeterminacy and negativity as well as Neutrosophic scores are shown on as this screen. So this is the model we have proposed. So as I talk about the result and discussion, basically we try with the Neutrosophic data and the outliers. So we took that using the Likert responses. So then converted the Neutrosophic ripples and consistency check flagged responses, respondents 4 and 6 as I showed you earlier as the outliers, and instead of removing the outliers, we try to get them into the data set. And entropy based weight, I forgot to say that in the entropy based weight calculation we remove that particular outliers from calculation, then we incorporate the data set and we do that particular calculation multiplication. So then finally score, it's scalar score, Neutrosophic score computed, and the final data set not only all responded including the outliers, we could able to put that data set and the preserve its full spectrum of human uncertainty for machine language use, or the whatever the modeling we are going to do next. And the conclusion, so proportional normalization kept outliers, ensuring data set complete. What I feel in these emotional things, the outliers are the better ones for representing that particular emotion. So that's why I showed that picture. And entropy weights allow to find the influencing emotion, and scalar Neutrosophic score computed for all response, they are machine learning ready. And framework embraces the contradiction between integrity, how the richer emotional features. But I have to say, it need to evaluate the model. So with that, I come to the conclusion of the presentation. These are my references. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Pradeep, for your nice presentation. Before moving to the questions from the audience, I have one question. So, why did you select the entropy-based weighting method for these calculations?
Yeah, really there are a number of methods available for that kind of weighting calculation to be done. So what we think that there are outliers. So it's actually this methodology come out from the data set. So once we have the data sets and when we are trying for different methods, it suggested that entropy method can be utilized to say like generalize considering the entire thinking of a particular situation. So this is not the theoretical explanation, this is the practical explanation. Say like EV annexity, when think of all the people, what they basically in which side, true or the false or the intermittency. So therefore that three data sets we get together, then if I'm talking about the entropy, it's kind of a exploration of some ideas away from the boundary. So what's entropy calculation does, putting into the boundary and weighting that within that particular situation. So that's why we are using that entropy mechanism for that data set. But so the method is not proposing the entropy to be implemented there to find in the weights, but there should be another methods based on the data sets. That's our concept.
Yes, I suggest to do some comparison.
Yes, definitely. Because that, thank you for that comment, valuable comment. Because this model is only just listing down the basic steps and checking back and forth. So therefore, we require that kind of input because we need to evaluate this. Thank you.
So are there any questions from the audience?
Yes, thank you for presenting research. Very rarely people touching this kind of research because mostly it's difficult. I think you have finally raised the question how to evaluate.
Yes.
That is my
Yes.
You can suggest many theoretical models and argue mathematically, approach is very good, improving existing physical level. But then when you go to emotional level, you start with the pictures and how to say whether you are really happy by looking at the face of it. So this is something to do with mind. So there are no scientific instruments to measure models. But this is going to be again fuzzy.
Yes.
How to justify it. But of course, there are applications, and even you mentioned this is not subjective, and you propose them on.
Yes. So really,
But that application going to be highly subjective. That is
yes.
when you talk EV or something, and another area is highly subjective when you talk to emotions. That is one of my concerns to improve. Is, you can't totally, this is my you can't totally avoid the subjective part.
Yes, sir.
Because emotions are totally subjective, depend on the situation. Right, any comments?
Yes, I think that I should give a, so thank you for that valuable comment. So that's why I took this slide. So even that emotional intelligence at the present, people are talking about self-awareness as a simple one. So, but I think you can understand, so because you are researching, so how much it is difficult. The same difficulty is with the AI. That's why I am not fear of AI. That's why we should not fear of AI. Because of self-awareness, you can say, I know myself, but really we don't know ourselves. How we behave in the next moment, we don't know. So how can you predict it from the AI? So that's why this model taken, but there's a duality. So you are talking about the dualism, the duality of the Buddhism and whatever the mentality, the dualism that means there are two status of that the same location, same time. It's going for the what do you call that, quantum computing and so computing methods and so. The same time that duality, it's having two status. This is left, this is right. So even we are loving some person, we are hating that particular person in the same way. So capturing that is one of the difficulties. What I try to show here, if you can capture the data in that sort and together, and we can find a single value, but finding is very much difficult. That's why I told you that I am trying with questionnaire for the moment, but the sentiment analysis and other data collection mechanisms, now they are collecting the data to the labels and other thing, and they group like a single list, but not like that. If you are finding that labels, I mean that the social science researchers, the labeling or the codings, the coding should be three coding should be have the same data set. Otherwise we can't say we have taken the real idea of the person. So that's the concept I try to develop here. And as the chair asked the valuable question, why I use the entropy, that's the reason, sir. So what here, how the majority think, not the majority tell. So that should be captured like the mechanism you are using the entropy calculation method. So that's how it comes. That's why I said that according to the data set, it depends. Thank you, sir, for the correction.
Again, just for suggestion, I think you are collecting like questionnaire based answers and using mostly names, facial expressions, and so on. So the questionnaire maybe at the end, maybe optional one. What is your real feeling of something like that? Because all depend on that. But again, we can't 100% sure even that opinion going to be by so long. Yeah.
Definitely, sir. Yeah. Then now I think everybody have experienced that how you are blaming to the ChatGPT and how it's replying you. So for my some friends, they starting from the filthy words to talk with the ChatGPT. Even you are at the very beginning, you are putting the filthy word. Some people you know, right? So it's say like, I know, I understand your frustration, but it's not the real frustration, right? So, but this is the point, sir. When we have the huge number of data of a particular person, as we discussed yesterday, the 75% understanding of a particular person, why can't we develop the data to put into the emotional kind of application. So my suggestion is, if you are putting that application, putting data to here, you should be divided into 3. That duality should be there. Thank you, sir.
Okay, then we move to the questions from the judgment.
Thank you, Pradeep, for this very interesting presentation. I suggest something like making consciousness for AI.
Yes, not the consciousness. I think we have a very difficult meaning on the consciousness. Rather than the, at least, consciousness means kind of understanding the particular situation with in and out. What I feel is all the dots. But even though what the feeling at the particular moment, so that is called, I can say it's like emotional intelligence, right? Because I have not studied all these things very in deep, but before with some discussions and some readings, that's the thing what I in my head. Consciousness, I don't think. It should be a very huge subject.
Right. So the next one is like you were referring to AD, so you were is that mean like
No. Electric vehicle. Sorry, EV.
EV.
EVs. Yeah.
Somewhere I read AD. And the other one is what kind of scale, data collection scale that you would suggest? Is it like can you use like visual and on this scale kind of?
Yes, whatever the vision. Now here we were talking about the questionnaire. So it's a seamless, everyone can understand methodology. So they are directly taking, do you like or not, or like fuzzy mechanism 0 to 5 or whatever the thing. So here it's suggested to not to take like that. There are 3 status of mentality. You try to capture all these things. So even you take that photograph. So the machine learning model or whatever the model we use to capture that particular emotion, where they categorize that data, where they label that particular data. So there should be 3 labels based on that particular status. That's the point. That's the conceptual thinking of Neutrosophic to be implemented in these data sets.
Right. So, because my question was like, what I was asking is like, if we are using a visual analysis scale with a slide,
Right.
so then we have
Yeah.
like very precise.
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah.
This you are going for three.
Yes.
Accurate directions. Could you please also little bit tell me about this normalization? How this normalization happens? For example, like when you add the numbers, it becomes more than 1. Let's say 1.8.
Yes. So really it's look like this. So now the previous one here this is the one before the mechanism it came for the institutionalistic fuzzy set before the Neutrosophic fuzzy set. So here we think that the full emotion is 1, right? And any given time our mental should fill with all the mentalities as a whole 1. That means when you are loving to a particular person, you 100% love, or 75% love, there is a 25% something, right? That is the second level of fuzzy logic. The third level is this. So there it says that your mentality full with love in the best situation, or you have the 50% love, 20% hate, and 20% unknown situation. So, but I think, sir, it's according to the Buddhism, we have different mentalities. In a given time, we 100% love, 100% hate. There's a simple hesitation in between. But even though you can see adding 1 by 3. Again, we have 3, but there is no role to go up to the 3. So we have a full mental, like things, that what you call that, I don't know, singular English word, Chaitasika or mentality, whatever the thing, Sitta. So it divided, the one feeling is not going through entire the Sitta. It's a part of only that. Even that part we have the something. So I think that's why I think like outliers are 111. We think like the outliers are 111.
Yeah, that's why I'm very interested, like how we can normalize. Is it like using a
No, normalization.
to use an
Yeah.
unlinear model or linear model?
Yeah. So really that fuzzy things are within that formula. Actually, because this is a paper written by the Florentin, so some discussions, really I don't understand some discussions. So he tried some incorporate that one because of that particular concepts to be incorporated. So this like chairs, why that entropy? So that entropy come later. So when we want the weighting the attributes, I said that the electronic vehicle emotion of a particular society basically influence somebody's idea. Range problem is affecting on somebody basically. So therefore that's why I try to tell them, and then he suggests that so let's go for the entropy weightings. So that kind of things are there. Even we have that hesitation basically come from that side. We have love and hate at the same time, but the uncertainty comes from somebody's word sometime. She's not a good girl or something.
Can I add something now? One hand, we are trying to measure it. Right. When we say happiness indicator, so you are so happy means unhappiness also at the same level because it's a comparison. Right? And there's another theory.
Yes.
Happiness, when someone is happy means unhappiness also at the same level. And these two comes with this program creation. Both comes together with the illusion. So that should be the
Yes.
missing indicator, I guess. You may touch that as well.
Basically, we cannot move to one end, but we are moving in parallel. We are moving
Yes. I
in
think
both
this
directions.
discussion and go
Very interesting.
we may discuss later.
So actually, rather than asking question, like I was this part of my head while explaining this method to categorize between the false and true, between the intermediate equation. So in the previous author's paper also I asked about the double thing. So I think this will give maybe an initiative to find an answer for that question I asked from
Definitely.
Yes, because mostly what we say is not explaining what we intended, I mean, always inside our mind. So this initiates a new pathway we can go forward to find the real or the accurate emotion explained from the text including the emojis and those things.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Lee.